So hello everybody and welcome to the Fitness Network podcast. Today we are on episode 11 and I am joined by the Brazilian wellness queen. Well, I call her Brazilian, but she's not. It's Britt Soriano. She's like my wellness warrior. So Britt, a quick little intro on yourself.
Okay. I am obviously not English. I'm Canadian. I've lived in the UK now for 8 years with my husband. So I compete in the wellness class of bodybuilding, which is very, very far away from where I started my fitness journey as a dancer, singer, performer. And when I retired from that, I dabbled in running. And then when I got horrifically injured multiple times, I started lifting weights to sort of rehab those injuries. Yeah. And I had an amazing, really good friends of mine were coaches at the time. So I had moved to the UK. I was trying to cut down for an audition. And I got back in touch with some friends back in Canada, a woman named Michelle Espino, and she was my very first coach, and she sort of got me more seriously into weightlifting and bodybuilding, because she competed in bikini, and I just thought she was incredible. So we sort of did a year of coaching together, a couple of diet phases, building phases, and I like a challenge. I always need something to challenge. I need a goal to work towards, and it needs to be like extreme. It can't just be, you lose a bit of weight for a party. It has to be something crazy, like a marathon or a certain number of half marathons in a time. And so I thought, let's try bodybuilding. Let's try doing a show. And so that's sort of how I got into it. That was 2016, and I've been lifting ever since.
Wow. So so when you did that, you started with the bikini class, right? Because obviously wellness wasn't around.
Yeah, there wasn't a wellness class then. And going into bodybuilding, I really had no idea about anything. I saw my coach. I saw that she competed, and I, for the first time, sort of looked at a woman that was muscular and strong, and I really, really wanted to look like that. And it's the first time I sort of thought of a more muscular, fit physique as being really beautiful, because I come from a ballet background, and I mean that comes with a whole other level of body dysmorphia. We were taught to be as thin as possible at all times, and any sort of muscle or size was just not looked upon. So this was sort of the first time I looked at a woman and thought, wow, that is incredible. I would like to try and look like that. And so I sort of really slowly started to, it was hard to watch shows then as much. I didn't really know where to find things. I sort of stumbled my way around looking at pictures online and finding little clips here and there on YouTube and working through my first prep. And yes, it was bikini. And I remember getting posing. My very first posing coach ever was Michelle Brannon.
Yeah.
And I remember going to see her, and she took one look at me and she went, "Oh, your legs are way too big for bikini." She's like, "You need to stop training your legs." So I stopped training my legs 8 weeks out from my very first show. So I did not touch them for 8 weeks, other than, running and walking for cardio, because they're just naturally a lot bigger. So yeah, we started in bikini, and I was tiny.
Did you find coming onto diet easier because of coming from a ballet background, or were you kind of really scared about eating more food in a way?
My whole life has been a series of just from a dance background, I mean, we had terrible nutrition. I don't know if it's much different now. I mean, 20 years ago, knowing now what I know about nutrition and wishing that we had been taught that those years ago, we wouldn't have seen the injuries we saw. I watched girls with their shins that would shatter on impact because your bones are so weak because you're so starved. The injuries were horrific and numerous, and it's because we were all starving to death. And 20 years ago, that's just what you did. So coming on to this and dieting down, my first prep was, I was absolutely, she told me what to do and I did exactly what I was told and did not stray, did not look another way, just did exactly what I was told. And I was hungry and a bit miserable, but it wasn't, I didn't find it that challenging, really. I think looking back, my first prep, yeah, I was hungry and a bit uncomfortable, but I just did what I was told. I'm very, I really like to be told what to do, which is why I like having a coach. I really like just saying, do this. I could do it, but I prefer someone to say, do this, do this, do this. Don't think about it. Go. So, but I mean, the diet is always the hardest part for me because I love food.
Same. Although I mean, even chicken I love right now.
Yeah, I don't love chicken so much right now, but I adore food. So that's always the challenge for me. In the end, it is going to be the diet. I never struggle with the training, never struggle with the cardio. Always happy to do those things, and loath to miss a session. I don't need motivation to go to the gym. It's the place I'm happiest and the most comfortable and the most relaxed. So it's always going to be diet for me, always.
Yeah,
that's the word.
Okay, so what do you think in terms of getting to the very, very top in any class of bodybuilding? What do you think is the most important thing to do well? Do you think it is down to genetics and things? Do you think it's more work ethic, or do you think it's something else?
I think you need a combination of the two. People are able to fight genetics a little bit when they train enhanced. I think that you just have to be able to work with a single-minded focus, and that's the only way you're going to move forward in any sort of high-level elite sport. You just have to have that single-mindedness and the work ethic. Genetics will help you along the way, definitely, but you just have to do it. You have to go completely 100% all in, and other things need to take a back seat to it. You can't.
Yeah. There is no balance in prep.
No, there is no balance, and I find it a little bit hard to hear when people say, "Oh, I just find this great balance," and I mean, it's not a balance. Prep is not balanced. Prep is completely unbalanced. I think you can get a bit of balance back in your off season, and that's how you sort of gain your sanity back and your normal flow. But for those 12 to 20 weeks that you're prepping, there is zero balance. Zero.
Yeah.
And it's and that's the most important thing I think you need to know coming into this sport is I don't think I was prepared mentally for just how unbalanced it is. And each season you have to push a little bit harder. You have to work a little bit more, and it becomes more apparent. But a lot of people coming out of a first prep or first time prep are not prepared for that sudden shift back or lack of focus coming out of a show. And it's a hard thing.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's why I do so many, because I miss it. Got to get back up.
What you can do with yourself outside.
Yeah, I don't think I know what normal life is anymore. So.
I've seen people, I think, I'm just thinking about genetics again. I'm very lucky in that my legs grow I train them very, very hard. I train very, very hard, but they like to grow. Whereas, say, I could do anything under the sun to my shoulders, and I struggle for every single bit of muscle on my upper body. It's a struggle for me. It's a massive struggle. Whereas my legs, I sneeze and they grow. So,
but then that's more you are just playing to your strengths by doing wellness. Really,
and that's exactly it. It's a category that came out that suited my body type perfectly. That I never fit really in bikini. I was never going to fit in figure because I just can't build the size of my upper body. So wellness is like the perfect balance for me between the two of them.
And it's such a beautiful look as well, I think. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
I'd say it's probably every man's perfect woman, isn't it? A wellness woman, I reckon.
I like to think so. I
Yeah,
like to think so.
yeah, I really, really like it. I mean, I think it's really funny because I did actually pose with Michelle to start off with, and she looked at my legs and she was like, I think you could be wellness. And I was like, I think I'm actually just fat. Like, I actually don't think it's muscle. I think I'm fat. um, so sadly, I don't think I would ever fit into it, although I love to watch it. I think it's such a nice addition, I think, you know, to all the classes. And I think it is, like you said, it's a welcome for a lot of girls, I think, that really, really had to diet hard to fit into bikini and, you know, was still borderline anyway. So it's nice to have that now, I think.
Yeah.
So okay, so for wellness, what I mean, you kind of touched on it a little bit, but what is the overriding class criteria for wellness?
Okay, so when you're thinking wellness, we are looking at a conditioning that is the same as bikini, maybe even a little bit harder. So what is a little bit frustrating to see now, you don't see it at all really anymore in Europe or in Brazil, unconditioned competitors coming into wellness thinking it's a softer look. I'm seeing it. We see it a little bit in America right now because it's still quite a new class, so people are still coming in not conditioned. I mean, that's not it. It is a conditioned look. It is a
Yeah,
bikini, maybe even slightly more conditioned, with a little bit more muscle overall. So abs similar to bikini with a bit more cut to them. I would say shoulders are slightly more developed than bikini, but a little bit less than figure. So this is all right. This is on the website as well. And then legs and glutes are out of proportion to what you would normally see on a bikini competitor. So we're looking a little bit closer to figure, but without the striations and the really deep cuts. So you want the cuts without the striations. You want that fairly dramatic quad sweep, and you want the larger rounder glute that you can almost see from the front.
yeah.
And hamstrings as well. And what I love watching for in wellness athletes coming up is the balance between the two, because there aren't very many athletes right now that have everything. So they'll have incredible quads, but their hamstrings don't quite match their quads, or they'll have incredible glutes and hams, yet their quads still quite aren't there. So to see an overall picture of balance, you don't like, well, Angela Borges I think is like the greatest ever. She's sort of my hero. And then in the UK we have Jacqueline. She won the first amateur Olympia, I think.
Okay, yeah. Was that the one last? That wasn't last year. That was last year.
Yeah, the start of last year, 2018, I believe.
Oh,
And then of course we've got Fegan, who was the British champion last year. And who else do I really like the look of? I was thinking of. Those are kind of my top wellness. Oh gosh, Mel. Mel McGuire, of course, looks amazing. So you want to think about, you want the balance, you want a little bit of everything, and we all have areas that we sort of need to pull up or need to work on, because the training is hard.
Yeah, I think it's really nice because I know a lot of girls, they really want to train hard and they almost train themselves out of bikini in the end because that's what they really like doing. And so a lot of girls seem to move up into figure because of it. But I think it's quite nice that I feel like, you know, there is another space for girls that are like that as well, that outgrow, I suppose, bikini.
Definitely. And you know, wellness, you could have the really big, thick, dense, you can have the nice, really dense muscle in the legs, and it still looks really feminine. So yeah, I think it's overall density and balance, and you want that drama to the sweep of the quad, and nice
and juicy, but still crispy, I'd say a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, so then how does your training differ now from when you were doing bikini? Like, has your split changed a lot?
Oh gosh, yeah. So I've always had coaches that have a fairly traditional approach, which I quite like, to be honest. It's a way. So we'd always have sort of a back day, a chest shoulders day type thing. And when I was training bikini, I think I was doing sort of quads one day, and then hams and glutes and calves another day.
Okay.
And then we just stopped leg training altogether and just did glutes. But now when I switched to Kim, my training changed drastically, and I had a mini meltdown because I thought, I'm not training my legs enough. That's not enough for me. So I have one massive leg day a week, just absolute bashing, and then three glute days, which I'm sort of allowed to train. I'm sort of allowed to do my own thing with.
Yeah.
So one of those days is really heavy work. So rep ranges of like 8 to 12, quite heavy work. And another day is a medium, and then another day is a sort of a higher rep sort of burnout type thing. So I have that undulating training that I'm cycling it. So it's not always heavy. It's not always light. It's running on a cycle. And then about every 6 weeks, I go for 2 or 3 rep maxes.
Does he know that?
I really love training. So obviously I can't do that all the time. I do it, like I said, about every 6 weeks or so. I test a few lifts here and there just to sort of get better idea of where my strength is and how to sort of plan progressive overload within my training from what Kim gives me, and then just to make sure that I'm progressing each week in myself. But that's pretty much how I do it. And of course he was right, and my legs grew. So sometimes a little bit less is more.
Yeah.
I know a lot of wellness girls are training up to 4 times a week. And that doesn't necessarily mean they're training every single part of their leg 4 times a week. It could be 2 quad sessions and 2 glute sessions that amount to, I sort of work on the 16 to 32 hard working sets within a 7-day period in any muscle group. So I think that when you split it, quads and hams, it is possible not to overtrain doing 4 sessions, but I mean, you'd have to be pretty careful. And I'm older than I'm older, so I can't train like that.
Right.
I have to be careful. I'm not in my 20s. You can just batter your body over and over, and the regenerative tissues are you bounce back a lot quicker. I take longer to recover, and I'm a natural athlete, so without the assistance, my recovery is slower. It's 8 year.
My Bikini Girls, really speaking, it is a natural class. Would you say that wellness is a similar kind of thing as well? Or is it
wellness
just
is a natural class?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I imagine that the top girls maybe aren't, but I don't know.
There is, I think the number of natural wellness athletes is small.
Right. Okay.
At the top level, there are not very many. So I think it's definitely achievable as a natural athlete. I mean, I did well last season. Last season was the best season. I mean, I started in 2016. I think I placed last in my first show. And my second show, I was like maybe 3rd from last. The next season, I placed 4th. So 2017, which was the very first year for wellness, I placed 4th at Sugars Classic. Then 2018, I did the UK BFF and won that regional show in the spring. Then went to Two Bros and got absolutely hammered, absolutely crushed. So that was the very first Two Bros show in June of 2018, and I walked in there and stood next to the other wellness girls. I was like, right, I'm tiny.
Really?
I just looked tiny. I looked like a bikini girl compared to like Jacqueline and Jamie. I just looked tiny. So I stepped off that stage. I think, I think there's maybe 12 of us. I reckon I was probably 11th.
Okay. But do they height split it as well, like they do for bikini?
At first they didn't. At first they
Oh.
didn't. That first year they didn't height split us. They just sort of banged us all in together. After June of 2018, I took almost a full year off. Came back. I won the Nathan Dasha Classic in 2019. So I
Yeah.
placed first at that. Then I placed second at British Finals, and I was second in my height class at the Amateur Olympia. So I had a really good season last year.
Mm.
And that was coming from the bottom coming up, and I'm natural, and looking at the athletes who aren't natural. It's a hard thing, because for the size of wellness,
Mm. It's an almost in betweeny one, isn't it? That's the thing. That's why I was
it is.
intrigued to know what.
And I imagine that once the pro cards start rolling out, it's all going to be, slightly assisted in some way, which is a bit disappointing to me, but I seem to be doing quite well
Yeah.
as a natural
You're
athlete.
damn right.
I'm not plateauing, and my strength's not stopping. I'm not having any sort of stalling in the tissue that I'm building, so I don't really see the need for it.
Mm. You do train like a beast as well. It's crazy.
I train in a traditional gym. It's a traditional free weights gym in Bournemouth, South Coast Powerhouse, and I train with the boys there, and they are crazy. So I mean, I guess I train like them. My training style now, since training there, has just changed drastically. And I like, if I'm doing something, I'm doing it. I'm not gonna
Don't do
half
it
measure.
half-heartedly.
What's the point of doing half of what you can do? And I think that's a little bit of the perfectionist in any bodybuilder or any person. I like to be perfect, and if I don't feel like I've done the very best I could possibly do, I do it again.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think we're all like that.
Yeah,
Okay, so what are your current and future goals then?
I want to win a pro card.
Yeah.
I want
That
that pro
sword.
card. I mean, a pro card would be incredible, and just to put my foot on that Olympia stage would be the ultimate dream. I could die happy.
Just on stage.
Oh, I know. But of course, once you get there and then you don't win, you're like, right, now I need to win it.
Yeah,
But
I've got to come back again.
first things first, I want a pro card, and I want to take some time off. I would like a full calendar year of not dieting. Would be really, really lovely to sort of, build back metabolism, make sure that I then start, my first pro season on a high if I do win a pro card. I'm not saying I'm going to win a pro card. If I do. So that's kind of the goal right now, is just to get that card.
Yeah.
Do everything I can to get there, just like I know. Just like I know you will.
I know. I've lined up. I've got backups of backup shows just in case, because we don't know how everything's going this year. But it's always worth a shot, isn't it? You just never know when it's your day. It's your day. So.
Sure, you gotta have backups in case of injury as well. So.
Yeah,
right.
definitely.
I've got a little bit of an issue with my knee, so it puts me out for the very first show that I had planned to do, and hopefully we can sort of reel it back in for the next show in line with France. So.
Okay. Otherwise, we'll be wheeling you onto stage and then propping you up. Okay, so what are you most proud of, do you think, kind of through your bodybuilding career at the moment?
I was really proud of winning my first show ever, which was the UK BFF show in 2018. That was always like that was sort of it was a dream to actually win a show. And then, I mean, last season was beyond anything I could have imagined. I think 8 weeks before the British final, I had a coach, not my coach, tell me that I might place top 5, but that I would never, ever, ever, ever come close to beating his athletes. And that was a horrible thing for someone to say to me. And then I came second, ahead of all of his athletes, which was, I know, which, I mean, that to me, I was so proud of, because I worked so hard that last 8 weeks of prep for that show. I mean, I nearly died. I worked so hard, and just, I mean, second place. It was something that I never ever expected, and I was so pleased and so happy and so proud of myself. I was bawling. I think I fell into Jenny Bliss, my posing coach at the time. I pretty much fell on her backstage. I was so proud of myself, and that was a really, really amazing thing, the British finals. I was really proud of that.
But I imagine him making silly comments like that pushed you even more, really. So
I'm stubborn. You tell me I can't do something and I will do everything in my power to prove you wrong. So
so maybe it was he did the right thing in a way. Not in the right way, but
reverse psychology, it always works on me. You can just
yeah
tell me I can't.
Okay, so talking to other competitors or somebody who's going into a show, like what advice would you give someone about going into their first show, like somebody who knows nothing about competing?
I think the most important thing to do, I know this sounds this may sound a bit weird, I think research eating disorders or disordered eating very well before you start, and take a real honest look at your relationship with food, because I think the stats are really high on this. We're looking at 80% probably plus have a form of disordered eating coming out of a show. And that's not something that I don't think first-time competitors really take that seriously. And there's I think about half of first-time competitors never do another show, or did it as a sort of a bucket list thing and don't really have a passion for the sport, which is completely fine. But there's a very big risk of lasting damage. And lasting the body dysmorphia, and the food is such an important thing to analyze before you start, and to have a coach that really goes through that with you before you start, and to have a very good plan in place well ahead of time for after your show. So be mentally prepared to reverse diet out of your show so that you're healthy, you're happy, you're safe.
I think that mentally is the hardest bit is post-show, because
so much more
it is, and also because you feel like even if you win your show or not, you almost feel a sense of loss because your goal has gone. And I think even just dealing with that kind of spirals you sometimes. So
that's exactly right. And a goal that lasts for such an intense period of time is, I mean, I think people really underestimate when you have such an intense focus for 12 to 20 weeks. It's all very compact, it's all very centralized, and when that goes, it kind of just goes all at once. So I think that is just the most important thing, is to really get your head around what's going to happen to you mentally and your health.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. So actually we haven't spoken about what your full-time job is and stuff.
I do lots of stuff.
I know you do, super busy bee, but I think it's good to tell people, like, that how all-consuming prep is, and yet you can still fit all the things in that you do.
Oh, I'm insane. Personal trainer. So I do personal training and sports massage, and then I teach music as well.
Oh yeah, of course you do. Oh,
yeah. So
you've got some brilliant students, haven't you?
Yeah, I've got great students. I teach voice and piano. So that's the thing, and then the personal training and sports massages in the day.
And so if somebody wanted to come to you for PT or massage, how would they get in contact with you?
They can contact me. I'm on Instagram, British27, or Brit Driven Diva UK Fitness. I have a website, drivendivas.lifestyle.co.uk, or you can come down to South Coast Powerhouse in Bournemouth. It's backwards because we're on a camera. So I train clients out of a privately owned gym in Bournemouth, in Dorset. Amazing gym.
I will put the link of all of that in the bio below so people can find you. Okay, so the last bit is our quick fire round. This is my favorite bit. Okay, so the best question ever. Favorite guilty pleasure food?
This is gonna be super gross. Okay. Pizza and ice cream at the same time.
Oh, wow. What type of pizza?
Okay. I like a fully loaded, lots of salami, lots of ham, lots of meat, extra cheese,
Okay.
everything you can possibly fit on a pizza, and Ben Jerry's cookie dough ice cream
What on it? Or just
with it at the same time. Separate
oh,
bowl.
okay, so a bite of each.
Yeah, bite of
Oh,
each. Yep, that's it. I
that's
don't do that frequently.
no, I mean that's a new spin on pineapple on pizza. So interesting. Ice cream and pizza. Okay. I feel like I need to try that sometime. Okay, favorite place you've been in the world?
Well, I kind of have like two-ish.
Yeah, go for it.
So, Bali. I love
Mm,
Bali, and the most incredible place I think I've ever been, Antarctica.
wow. Oh my
Yeah.
God. Did you get icicles on your nose and everywhere? And
Well, we used to work on cruise ships, so that was like my favorite trip was South America and through Antarctica. It's just the most. It blows your mind. It just doesn't even look real. It's incredible.
wow, amazing. Okay, favorite stage pose.
I like. Oh, I think probably front pose for me.
Yeah,
I think my quads are quite strong, so.
yeah, I like that one on you. Okay, greatest of all time. We're gonna widen it. It can be like bodybuilder or in any category you like, really.
Ronnie Coleman.
Yeah.
Ronnie Coleman, I think, is it for me, and then obviously Flex Wheeler, and I really love Dexter Jackson.
Oh, he's just
Beautiful.
gonna go and go and go. I don't really believe that he's ever gonna retire, really.
I don't think so. He is. He's just such a beautiful physique, and of course, for females, Iris Kyle. She's an incredible athlete. Was it 10-time?
Yeah, like insane. Yeah.
She's unbelievably incredible. I just think she's amazing.
Yeah, I think she is coming back this year, isn't she? Because
Yeah,
they've added it back
yeah.
in. So.
I'm really excited to
Oh.
see it. I can't wait.
Yeah, I mean, it was horrible seeing, that she just said there was nowhere for her to compete before, and what an awful thing when you plowed your life into that and you were the very best, and there's nothing for you. But
Yeah, it was a shame they sort of stopped women's bodybuilding. It's a fairly impressive thing to watch. I think it's just a
yeah,
whole other level of what you can do with your body. So I'm glad
yeah,
they're bringing it back.
yeah. I mean, those women are insane. So
Yes.
exciting! I'm so excited. Well, thank you very much. I will let you get back to. Are you watching Tampa Pro? Sure.
Yes.
The wellness is tomorrow, though, isn't it? I think.
Yes. There's no pro wellness yet.
Oh, I thought they said they had ones. Maybe they mean the amateur. Then.
Do they have? Well, it's pro amateur, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it must be the amateur that they're doing.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'll be watching that tomorrow.
Me too. Cardio watching. Cool. Well, thanks very much, Britt. I will put all the links up for you on Instagram and your website below so people can find you. And I will catch up with you very soon.
All right. See you later.
Thank you very much. Thanks. Bye.